Good evening, everybody. It's Monday, October 21st, 2024, and we will call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Bosbus-Rath, Commissioner Gage,
Here.
Commissioner Habusta,
Here.
Commissioner Marble,
Here.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Here.
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Thank you.
Mr. Gage.
Your Honor, I would move to excuse Commissioner Bosbus-Rath.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. She's excused this evening. If everybody could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. So I have no mayor comments or general announcements, and we have no proclamations and recognitions. So we'll go to item C, public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of the agenda items? All right, so Linda Hoth for item G3, am I guessing well? Okay, all right. Anybody else? All right, we're moving on into item D, which is the consent agenda, and tonight we have Erica Gordon, Deputy City Clerk. Welcome.
Thank you. Item 1 is the approval of City Commission meeting minutes of October 7, 2024. Item 2, acceptance of the Airport Advisory Board meeting minutes of August 8, 2024. Item 3 is the acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation, Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and Tax Increment Finance Authority 3 meeting minutes of September 3rd, 2024. Item 4 is the consideration of a public hearing to establish an obsolete property rehabilitation district, OPRD, within the DDA district. Item 5 is a consideration of the DNR Snowmobile Grant Award acceptance. Item 6 is consideration of a MERS Healthcare Savings Program participation agreement and planned addendums for firefighters. Item 7, approval of consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Clerk. Would any commissioner like any of the items further explained or any of them removed for individual consideration? Seeing none, Commissioner Bauer.
So moved, we approve tonight's consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed unanimously. We have no special orders of business or communications tonight, so we'll move right into item G, which is business items. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item for the City Commission's consideration is consideration of a bid award for 800 megahertz portable radios. This is a regional grant opportunity that the fire department applied for through FEMA Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program to purchase 800 megahertz portable radios. It was a collaborative effort. The region includes Bay Mills Township Fire Department, Sioux Township Fire Department, Sugar Island Fire Department, Pickford Township Fire Department, Dafter Township Fire Department, Kinross Township EMS, and then obviously Sault Ste. Marie Fire Department. The grant was written with the assistance of Dafter Township. The city will be the lead agency for the project. And the total bid award for the portable radios would be recommended to Grand Traverse Mobile Communication in the amount of $729,097.77. Like I mentioned, the city would be the lead agency, and the matching contribution for each of the participating participants would be 10%. So the city's portion would be $66,604.57. The recommendation is to award the bid to Grand Traverse Mobile in the amount of $729,097.77.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Gage?
Motion to award the purchase of 800 megahertz portable radios to Grand Traverse Mobile Communications in the amount of $729,097.77.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Moving on into G, business items number 2, Deputy City Manager Troyer.
Item 2 is consideration of a bid award for replacement line blenders for the water treatment plant. We went to bid for this. We received one bid that met bid specs. It is recommended to award the bid to SPX Flow USA. We are recommending that the City Commission authorize the purchase of 2, which will need an increase in budget of $75,000 from the water capital reserves. And the basis for that is because of the lead time to acquire the equipment and then also the anticipated increase in cost. So Director Tews would be requesting that we authorize the purchase of 2 and increase the budget from the water capital reserve. So the total would be $148,352.19, again, to award the bid to SPX Flow US.
Thank you, Deputy City Managers. Anybody have any questions for Deputy City Manager or Director Tews on this item? Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarification, if we did not purchase the second one, which we have not budgeted for, would that then be something that would be budgeted in next year's budget?
Director Tews, do you want to respond to that?
Good evening. Can we get a video of the mixer or something?
They're inside a pipe. They're really hard to see. But no, the plan was, as it explains it in the agenda memo there, that we originally had one on our CIP for this year, and we were going to place one on the CIP for next year. But after we received the quotes back and the lead time and the price increases, that we just decided to, purchase both this year.
Thank you. That's it.
Answer your question? Anybody else have any questions? Anybody like to make a motion? Commissioner Marble.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to award bid to SPX Flow US for 2 line mix model 9LBVC300 and the purchase price of $148,352.19.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Marble.
Motion to increase the budget by $75,000 to purchase for the purchase with the funds coming from the water capital reserves.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Under G, business items, number 3, Deputy City Manager Troyer.
The next item for the City Commission's consideration is consideration of a bid award for the Sioux Area Tourism Grant for the I-500 track improvements. As the Commission is aware, the city partnered with the Sioux Area Convention and Visitor Bureau for EDA grant agreement for the I-500 track improvements. We're at the point where the bid is ready to be approved by the City Commission. OHM worked on the design engineering for the project along with our city engineering department. City engineer David Boyle has put a lot of time and effort into the project. We advertised the bid per the EDA requirements using Quest. 3 bids were received. There was some rescoping of the project to come in line with available budget. And so the recommendation would be to award the project to the low bidder, Baco Construction Company, and authorize the city manager to sign And just as it is a grant award, and the city does not have any, aside from staff time from the engineering department, the city doesn't have any financial obligation to the project. So it would recommend it to bid award to Baco Construction, as recommended by the EDA, allow the city manager to sign the associated documents as the landowner.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. And I just wanted to make one comment that I'm on the CVB board, but have absolutely no financial interest and no conflicts, so I will be discussing and voting on this item. Linda Hoth, would you like to come forward and please give us your name for the record?
I just want to, Linda Hoth, Sioux Convention and Visitors Bureau. I just want to give a big thank you to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. This could not have been done any other way. And not just you, Mayor, but Dave Boyle's my hero. You know, him and Tracy in the office has been just fabulous. You know, and the city taking in all the bids and doing it properly. For somebody that doesn't do this, it's a huge help, and I have big kudos to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And because of the fact that you helped us out, we couldn't have done this any other way. It is city property, and we did get the grant, and we have raised $420,000. So you need to know that, and know that we're moving forward. And Dave, you are my hero. That's all I can say. You know, I'm not an engineer. And sometimes that stuff flies right over your head, you know, because it's like, I look at Dave, and Dave, you know, whatever he has to say, I know he's going to do what's best for all of us. So you all need to know what a great staff you have here. You know, Robin's office taking in this, you know, taking in all the bids and doing all the stuff that they did. Working with EDA, Tracy was right on top of it all the time, sending out emails, reminding us what we needed to do. So a big thank you to the city of Sault Ste. Marie.
Hey, Linda, just while you're there,
Yes.
could you, I see there were some deductive alternatives, and so could you kind of go over what the project ended up being so that,
Well, I think
what we
Dave
could
Boyle
afford?
can give a better
Oh, maybe,
picture of
okay.
it. Let Dave Boyle give a picture of it. It is. I mean, we're going to do the new roadway, another building, electricity, fencing, terracing, kinda. Not as much terracing as we thought, right, Dave? Is there something I missed?
Is the
I
roadway
think-
still included? It looks like it was
Yeah,
deduction.
roadway is included.
Okay,
Yeah, so, see what
All right.
he's taught me?
great.
Great.
It's exciting.
So thank you. It is exciting, and exciting for this to take us to the next step, to be able to use that land. So thank you all. You guys are awesome.
All right, and again, Linda's done a lot of fundraising and has reached out to a lot of people, and great job on putting that all together. Any questions, comments? Anybody? Commissioner Gage.
I would love to move to approve the award to Baco Construction as recommended by the Economic Development Administration and allow the city manager to sign.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions, comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Thanks, Linda. And Dave. Under G, business items number 4, Deputy City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Next item for the City Commission's consideration is consideration of a Michigan Department of Natural Resource Grant Award Agreement for the Rotary Park Bathroom Pavilion Project. So yet another grant that our city engineer department was successful in obtaining. This grant is for Rotary Park bathrooms and a pavilion. The motion would be to approve the grant agreement with a resolution and allow the city manager to sign. There is also a motion to amend the budget with an additional $151,800 coming from the general fund. As you will see in the agenda item, it was a collaborative project. It is a grant, and the grant funds will be $275,400 of the project. Our local Rotary Club provided a match of $110,000. City approved a match of $60,000 from the Sioux Tribe Gaming Fund for the additional initial total project of $460,000, which matched the grant documents that was approved by the City Commission. So it's a large project with various funding sources. Kudos to the engineering department for once again obtaining some grant funding to see projects that have been on the docket for some time actually come to fruition. So again, the motions before the City Commission would be to approve the grant agreement and then amend the budget with $150,800 coming from the general fund.
Thank you very much, Deputy City Manager. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to understand a little bit. I believe, when we talk about Rotary Island, that's owned by the feds, and I just want to make sure, have we approached them about building this structure on there, and are they okay with that? Does it violate any sort of lease agreement we might have? I know it's a long-term type of thing. I just want to make sure that we've covered our bases in that way before we spend this money.
It's actually on the mainland, isn't it, Dave? City Engineer Dave Boyle.
Yep.
Man of the meeting.
All right, so the pavilion isn't gonna be built on the island, it's gonna be built on the piece of property that's like left of Clyde's. That's city property, so. But we just redid a lease with the Rotary Island, with the Corps, and we have a bunch of maintenance stuff all worked out with them, and getting rid of the old pit toilets is all part of all of that, so we've already worked through all that with them.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave. Any other questions? Commissioner Rubenstein, I know you had your hand up on a previous one. Would you like to make the motion?
Motion to approve grant agreement with resolution and allow the city manager to sign.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Motion to amend budget with an additional $151,800 to come from the general fund.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion also passed unanimously. Moving right along, G, business items number 5, Deputy City Manager Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. The last item for the City Commission's consideration is adoption of a tax abatement policy, and Community Development Director Kelly Freeman is going to present on this one.
Good evening, Kelly.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I'll be as brief as possible.
You got all night.
So this draft abatement policy covers abatements that have a variable duration, pretty much brownfield and Oprah. It establishes a process for these applications to go through and be received. Things like minimum requirements, criteria for how they're to be evaluated, what needs to come in on the application, as well as an abatement schedule. And the abatement schedule, which is at the very last page in your packet, is kind of where the rubber meets the road. For investors, we look at capital investment, job creation, wages, as well as new housing units, and determining what percentage of the allotted time in the abatement people are eligible for. So we'll just use the brownfield as an example. That's up to 30 years. So going through the table based on the investment creation of jobs, wages, and housing units, we can figure out how much time people are eligible for. And of course, the more that is brought in terms of those figures, the more people are eligible for. It's a fairly generous schedule, I think, at least based on the minimums in each category. Off the top, people are eligible for 70% of whatever time period they're looking at, be it the 12 years for the Oprah or the 30 years for the brownfield. One of the major advantages of having a policy like this, there's several. First of all, it allows us to more consistently handle applications as they come through, make sure they're fair and equitable to the extent possible. ensure that the abatements are scaled to the outcomes that we want to see. It also, from the investor standpoint, articulates the goals for the community as far as what we want to see in investments, and also allows investors to anticipate our level of participation as they go through their due diligence to see if their project is viable or not. And last but certainly not least is the City Commission retains its final approval authority for these abatements. That doesn't change at all, so you will still have the final say, but perhaps a bit more structure in which to have those conversations. That's pretty much the extent of my remarks. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Kelly. Any, Commissioner Gage?
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Director Freeman said, so, I mean, this is really just kind of a suggested policy, and if whatever the mood strikes us, we can just tell somebody we're doing something different entirely than this policy. We still retain that authority.
Yeah, the
right?
City Commission does retain that.
Would look a
Obviously,
little-
it's
look a little
hoped that
bad,
we
yeah.
would stay within it to the extent possible. and-
Sure.
And certainly as this gets used and we identify things in it that weren't quite what we'd hoped,
Sure.
we'd probably take those back to the commission and have a discussion about what changes we think need to be made.
Okay, I appreciate that, thanks.
Commissioner Hubusta?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Freeman, according to PA 210, 2005, it indicates that parcels must either be 3 acres or located in the downtown district. What are opportunities for properties outside of the downtown district to receive abatements?
Well, whatever, programs the state has at the time, it all depends on the eligibility. So Brownfield is a citywide program, so that would be applicable to any parcel in the city that qualified for that program otherwise.
Thank you. And then, is there, and I'm assuming this comes from the state as well, for already tax advantaged properties, are they eligible then for abatements, or is that kind of already worked through the
I don't
system?
know the specific answer to that question, but I would imagine if they were otherwise qualified for the programs that they wanted to participate in, if that status wasn't an exclusionary, then we'd be able to take them through.
Okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner Rubenstein?
I guess my question is more related on the schedule related to new job creation. If you look at downtown and the types of jobs that are created, a lot of restaurant and retail, the bar seems a little high.
Sure.
For what would actually get created. So I guess, can you just touch on that? Maybe clarify a little bit more. Maybe I'm.
So I don't think that you're too far off with that, and, if the commission wanted us to, we could revisit the numbers on that category, or, if it felt like something else was more appropriate there. I mean, that's why we're here having this discussion tonight, is to make sure everybody's on board with what's in here.
Yeah, I think I would personally like to see that maybe tweaked a little bit, or at least more discussion around it before approving moving forward.
I had a quick question on the schedule as well. The new housing units created in the city of Sault Ste. Marie is, can you tell me how tax abatement relates to pilots or municipal services agreements or any type of?
So I don't know that anything with a pilot would qualify for this.
Okay.
Because these are both predicated on tax revenue being generated. The OPR is a tax freeze
Okay.
for a period of time, whereas the brownfield is a reimbursement of taxes paid in until whatever limit is reached, be it money that they spent for site cleanup or site prep. If there was like an old building, for instance, that needed to be taken down. So by virtue of how pilots operate, they wouldn't fit into this because of the tax revenue set up there.
Okay. Thank you.
And then, sorry,
Commissioner Gage?
then, I mean, similar to, like, if you were a tax exempt property, like the tribal, you would need this anyway, because you're already exempt, right?
Correct.
So like, that's all good.
Right.
Yeah. The in lieu of tax of part means that they probably wouldn't qualify for taxes because they're paying it in lieu of taxes. So that makes sense to me. I guess I'll also just say too, sorry, I'll keep
Go ahead, Commissioner Gage.
I think, I really appreciate this approach because I think that it makes sense to have something on paper, something that we can offer folks, something that we can kind of look at and suggest as kind of an opportunity to help maybe attract more investment or to encourage more existing property owners to invest in their properties and give them some sort of a carrot rather than just a stick. I'm supportive of Commissioner Rubenstein. If you want to take more time and think about it a little bit more, I have no problem tabling it. I don't think we need to pass it tonight, and so. But I really appreciate the foresight and thought that the Planning and Development Director has put into this, and as the department has. I think this is an interesting and unique conversation, so thanks for bringing it to us.
Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you. One further question. Do tax abatements stay with the property upon sale or transfer of the property?
I believe so. That is a true statement for most everything, yes.
Okay.
Why don't you come up here? Yeah.
So just on this tax abatement policy, it actually encompassed several departments. So it encompassed the Community Development Department, the EDC, the Finance Department, myself, the city manager, assessing. So it was all of us coming around the table and developing a policy that worked. So we were all on the same page when we were approached by these developments or inquiries that, you know, we have an understanding and a policy that guides us through the process. So it was lots of departments working together on this.
I motion to amend my thank you to include everyone.
So Steve, to your question on transferring that, the answer is yes. Oprah specifically has their own fee because there's an application filed through the state with that one. And then for brownfield transfers, there's an internal fee, and that's $2,500 or 5%, whichever is less.
So as far as the amounts, the ranges on the schedule, is that something that, do we use historical numbers that we've had, or did we use numbers that some other peer cities are using, or did we use information from MEDC, or how?
I think though some of these numbers did come from peer cities. We've made some adjustments to them certainly, but you know, just as an offer, I could say, you know, we could take the new job creation and add 10% to everything on the table, and that would seem to be a little bit more generous. Just figured I'd throw it out there.
So
Or
is
if
this,
we want to take more time to think about it, that's, you know, it's always an option.
yeah, I think it sounded like, did anybody want to make a motion to refer it back, or do you want to table it and bring it up at the next meeting?
I actually would-
Commissioner Abusta.
My motion would be to adopt the included tax abatement policy.
What would your motion be?
My motion would be to adopt the included tax abatement policy.
To adopt it? Without any changes?
I would move the recommended action item.
Is there support? Before we go to comments? Okay, we'll go to comments. Commissioner Rubenstein?
I guess I got a question for Commissioner Bauer. You know, at your business, how many, I guess, full-time FTE jobs combined how many people do you employ?
Well, I mean, it varies from, you know, what time of year. I obviously employ more people in the summer. I employed as many as 19 people this summer. This winter, probably down to as few as 3 or 4, not including myself.
So I guess my comment was more around the number of jobs needed to hit the abatement eligibility percentage versus increasing the percentage itself.
I can't see anyone spending $2 million to get into the restaurant industry in this town right now, personally. I mean, you know, it's a tough business. You'd never, unless you're really young, you wouldn't make that money back in your lifetime. You know, $2 million that's a pretty large investment. You'd be better off putting that money into housing or something else of that nature, my opinion, but what do I know? You know, that's just me.
And I wasn't talking about necessarily restaurant in general, but just the general type of businesses that are located downtown. And I'm assuming mixed use would fall under this too, like someone had
Yeah.
a restaurant downstairs and apartments upstairs.
Yeah, if somebody had a mixed-use building, they could conceivably tick off every single one of these 4 categories.
See, that would be more like it.
And that's really one of the things that we're trying to encourage is, have a building used for multiple purposes rather than just one or two.
Yeah, I'm supportive of this. I guess would like a little bit more time to stew on it, I guess.
I agree. I think it's something we haven't seen before, and it's a new concept, and it's pretty proactive, so I think we'd like a little bit of time to look through it, but is there a motion to
There is.
either table or
Motion
Commissioner
to
Gage?
table until next commission meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported that we table this motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion to table passed unanimously. Thanks, Kelly. All right, moving on into item H, which is city manager announcements and updates. Free report. Item I is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? No? Item J, matters presented by the city commission. So the person with one whole meeting left.
Yep.
Commissioner Gage.
I do have one issue I wanted to bring up. I got a call from a constituent last week, a constituent by the name of Ayla Habusta, who agreed with me that white letters on the water tower would have really looked a lot better than the black letters. And I just wanted to thank Ayla for her opinion because I tend to agree with it. So if she's out there listening, thank you, Ayla. You're totally right.
You can report.
Thank you for the input.
But black
Any-
is more slimming.
Jeez. Any other comments? Commissioner Bauer.
I do have one quick comment before I motion to adjourn, and not that it has anything to do with anything, but I would have supported Commissioner Habusta's motion earlier to adopt the tax abatement policy if I thought that it was going to pass. But I mean, clearly, the general consensus was to table. But I didn't really say anything about it at the time, but I am in favor of the tax abatement policy as far as what I've read. So it can't hurt. I mean, it can only help development, right? That's what we need. So anyway, I hope it passes next time around. And I would have supported that if I thought it was going to pass. So with that said, Your Honor, I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Support.
Motion and support. All in